Most people chase success like it's some hidden secret, but the truth is brutally simple. Few are willing to think deeply, act rationally, and stay disciplined when it's uncomfortable. The 2% who make it aren't smarter, they just avoid the stupidity the 98% indulge in daily. Impulsive choices, emotional decisions, and the illusion of quick rewards. Success isn't about luck or talent. It's about consistently doing what others won't, even when no one's watching. The difference between winning and losing often comes down to one thing: who can think clearly and act wisely when it actually matters. Discipline beats motivation every single time because motivation is a feeling and feelings are unreliable. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. It's exciting when it's there, but it disappears when things get hard or boring. Discipline, on the other hand, is a commitment that doesn't depend on your mood. It's what keeps you moving when you don't feel like showing up. Most people wait to feel ready before they start, but those who succeed understand that waiting for motivation is just another form of procrastination. They act not because they feel like it, but because they made a promise to themselves that they will. The truth is, success has little to do with how motivated you are and everything to do with how consistent you can be. You can be inspired by 100 videos, 1,000 quotes, or a great speech, but none of it matters if you don't follow through when life becomes repetitive, dull, or painful. Discipline doesn't care about excitement. It's quiet, steady, and often boring. It shows up before sunrise, stays late after everyone's gone home, and keeps doing the same thing over and over until the results appear. Motivation loves the spotlight. Discipline works in the dark. Think about athletes, entrepreneurs, or creators who reach the top of their field. They don't rely on motivation to get out of bed every morning. They've built systems, habits, and routines that make success almost automatic. They know that if they train, study, or practice every day, their efforts will compound over time. They understand that progress isn't made in big leaps, but in small, consistent steps that others often overlook. Discipline allows them to push through fatigue, boredom, and self-doubt. It's not glamorous, but it's unstoppable. The problem is, most people chase the high of motivation. They get excited after watching a motivational clip or reading a success story, and for a few days they feel unstoppable. But the moment reality sets in, the moment it gets uncomfortable, they quit. They tell themselves they've lost motivation, when in truth they never built discipline. Motivation starts the fire. Discipline keeps it burning long after the spark is gone. It's easy to start, but it takes discipline to finish. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing the long-term gain over the short-term pleasure. It's saying no to distractions, no to excuses, and yes to the uncomfortable work that no one applauds. It's skipping the party to finish your project, getting up early to train when your bed feels warm, or saving money when you'd rather spend it. Every small act of discipline strengthens your mental muscle. It's like training your brain to obey your goals instead of your impulses. Over time, this builds an unshakable inner strength that no mood swing can break. When you rely on motivation, your success depends on how you feel. When you rely on discipline, your success depends on what you do. That's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Discipline turns potential into progress and progress into mastery. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up every single day, especially when it's inconvenient. Those who master discipline don't chase motivation anymore. They create momentum. They know that emotion follows action, not the other way around. In the end, discipline gives you freedom. It frees you from the chaos of emotions, the trap of excuses, and the fear of failure. It gives you control over yourself, which is the foundation of all success. Motivation can inspire you to start, but discipline ensures you finish. The ones who win in life aren't the most inspired. They're the most consistent. They understand that discipline is the bridge between intention and achievement, and that bridge must be crossed daily, no matter how you feel. Rational thinking outperforms emotional reactions because emotions, while powerful, often cloud judgment and distort perception. When you react emotionally, you make decisions in the heat of the moment, guided by impulse rather than insight. Rational thinking, however, allows you to step back, observe the situation clearly, and respond with logic rather than chaos. It doesn't mean ignoring feelings. It means not letting them drive the car. Emotional reactions are fast and loud, but rational thought is steady and quiet, and in the long run, the quiet mind always wins. People who act on emotion tend to chase temporary relief rather than lasting solutions. They get angry and say things they later regret, or they get excited and make commitments they can't keep. Emotional decisions often feel right in the moment, but bring regret when the emotion fades. Rational thinkers, on the other hand, pause before responding. They analyze what's really happening and ask themselves, what's the smart move here? This small moment of reflection creates a massive difference in outcomes. The person who pauses to think gains control, while the one who reacts emotionally loses it. Rational thinking builds stability in a world that constantly tests your patience, ego, and self-control. It's what separates leaders from followers and professionals from amateurs. When you think rationally, you don't get pulled into drama, manipulation, or fear. You focus on facts, strategy, and perspective. You recognize that emotions are temporary waves, and if you let them pass before acting, you can make decisions that hold up under pressure. Rationality gives you power, not over others, but over yourself. It keeps you from sabotaging your own progress with impulsive choices. Emotional reactions often come from ego, the need to defend, prove, or justify. When someone criticizes you, your emotions want to fire back. But rational thinking tells you to pause and evaluate, is this feedback valuable, or is it noise? That pause protects your energy and your reputation. Rational people understand that reacting emotionally gives others control over their behavior. If someone can trigger you, they can manipulate you. But when you think rationally, you become unpredictable to those who want to provoke or control you. Your calm becomes your shield, and your clarity becomes your strength. Rational thinking also improves relationships, business, and decision-making because it removes unnecessary drama. In relationships, instead of arguing to win, rational thinkers listen to understand. In business, instead of making decisions from fear or greed, they assess risks and rewards objectively. This mindset leads to fewer mistakes, less stress, and more consistent progress. Emotional reactions may feel passionate, but they often create damage that logic later has to clean up. The most successful people aren't cold or detached. They simply refuse to let their emotions make decisions their mind should handle. Training yourself to think rationally doesn't mean suppressing emotion. It means mastering it. Emotions are signals, not commands. Anger can alert you to injustice, fear can warn you of danger, and sadness can remind you of what matters. But if you let those emotions make your choices, you'll keep repeating cycles of chaos. Rational thinking allows you to interpret those signals wisely, turning emotion into information instead of reaction. It's emotional intelligence in action, feeling deeply but responding wisely. The world rewards those who can stay calm under pressure. When others panic, the rational thinker sees opportunity. When others argue, the rational thinker listens and learns. When others quit out of frustration, the rational thinker adjusts and keeps moving. This difference compounds over time, turning moments of chaos into moments of clarity. Rational thinking doesn't make life easier, it makes it manageable. It helps you make decisions that serve your future, not just your feelings. In every situation, you have two choices: react emotionally or respond intelligently. One path brings temporary satisfaction and long-term regret. The other brings temporary effort and long-term success. Rational thinking is discipline for the mind. It demands patience, self-awareness, and control. But once mastered, it gives you an edge. Few people have the ability to stay calm, see clearly, and choose wisely when it matters most. Long-term patience destroys short-term greed because true success is never built overnight. It's built slowly, steadily, and intentionally by those who understand that time is their greatest ally. Greed screams for instant results. It wants rewards before the work is even done. Patience, however, plays the long game. It sacrifices short-term pleasure for long-term gain. It knows that anything achieved too quickly rarely lasts, and anything worth having demands endurance. The patient thinker understands that consistency compounds in ways impatience never will. Every small, steady effort adds up until one day the results seem sudden, though they were years in the making. Short-term greed blinds people to the bigger picture. It's the urge to grab what's easy now instead of working for what's valuable later. It makes people chase trends, shortcuts, and quick fixes. Greed wants the fruit without planting the seed, the reward without the effort, and the recognition without the discipline. But those who are patient operate differently. They understand timing. They don't rush growth, they cultivate it. They don't panic when results are slow because they trust the process. They know the right decisions feel uncomfortable at first but rewarding later, while greedy choices feel good immediately but cost dearly in the long run. Patience is not laziness or inaction, it's strategic endurance. It's the art of doing the right things consistently and giving them time to work. The greedy mind gets restless when success doesn't come fast enough. It starts cutting corners, forcing outcomes, and eventually collapsing under its own impulsiveness. The patient mind, however, moves steadily and quietly. It doesn't get distracted by how fast others are moving. It stays focused on its own lane. It knows that growth that happens too quickly often falls apart just as fast. That's why patience always wins, not because it's slow, but because it's sustainable. In business, relationships, or personal goals, short-term greed leads to burnout and disappointment. People want instant profits, instant love, instant validation. But the ones who build something meaningful understand that quality takes time. A strong foundation is invisible at first, but it's what keeps everything standing later. The greedy rush for quick money ends up broke. The patient investor builds wealth quietly. The one chasing instant fame fades away. The one building skill over time becomes irreplaceable. Every long-term win is built on the ruins of short-term temptations resisted. Patience gives you control over your impulses. It teaches you to delay gratification, to think beyond the moment. It makes you stronger than your emotions and smarter than your desires. It's the ability to sit through discomfort without abandoning your vision. Greed can't handle that. It's addicted to dopamine, constantly chasing the next high. But every time you resist the pull of immediate satisfaction, you gain power. You begin to see how much energy people waste trying to force outcomes that patience would have delivered naturally. The greatest advantage you can have in life is the ability to wait for the right moment without losing focus. Long-term patience also builds confidence because it's rooted in trust in your process, in your discipline, and in time itself. Greed is driven by fear of missing out, fear of being behind, fear of not getting enough. But patience operates from abundance. It knows that what's meant to grow will grow if you nurture it daily. It doesn't panic over temporary losses or delays because it understands that compound growth, whether in money, skills, or character, works silently until it explodes visibly. The patient person doesn't chase, they attract through consistency. Every success story you admire was written with patience as the ink. Behind every overnight victory lies years of invisible effort. The ones who refused to quit, who stayed disciplined while everyone else sought shortcuts, are the ones who win the longest. Short-term greed burns fast and fades. Long-term patience burns slow and lasts. The choice is simple. You can live for instant gratification or for enduring greatness. One feeds the ego. The other builds legacy, and only those who can wait long enough to see the harvest ever truly understand the value of patience over greed. Consistency separates the achievers from the dreamers because dreams alone are worthless without daily action to back them up. Everyone dreams of success, wealth, happiness, and freedom, but only a few are willing to show up day after day, doing the same hard things over and over, even when no one notices. Consistency is the difference between wishing for something and earning it. It's what turns vague intentions into measurable progress. Dreamers talk about what they want. Achievers work quietly until what they want becomes reality. The gap between both isn't talent, luck, or opportunity, it's consistency. Dreamers get excited by possibilities. They imagine outcomes, visualize success, and make big promises to themselves. But when the excitement fades, so does their effort. They let distractions, laziness, or self-doubt take over. Achievers, however, understand that motivation comes and goes, but habits are permanent. They build routines that don't depend on emotion. They show up even on the bad days, especially on the bad days, because they know that every repetition strengthens their foundation. Success is not built in a day, it's built through 1,000 ordinary days that most people don't have the patience to endure. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's not loud, exciting, or instantly rewarding. It's repetitive, often boring, and invisible to others. But that's exactly why it works. Every time you show up, you're sending a message to yourself. You're proving that you can be trusted to follow through. You're building momentum, self-respect, and reliability. Consistency is how you become someone who doesn't need motivation to act, because action has become your identity. Dreamers wait for inspiration. Achievers create it through discipline. Most people underestimate the power of small daily effort. They think success requires massive breakthroughs, but in reality, it's the accumulation of tiny, consistent steps that lead to transformation. One workout won't change your body, but 100 will. One page won't make a book, but 1,000 will. One investment won't create wealth, but steady discipline over years will. Achievers understand the compound effect, how little actions done daily multiply over time into extraordinary results. Dreamers keep starting over. Achievers keep going. The reason consistency is so powerful is that it builds credibility with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to your goals, you reinforce the belief that you're capable. That belief turns into confidence, and that confidence turns into unstoppable momentum. Dreamers lose faith in themselves because they break their own commitments. They quit when progress is slow, forgetting that slow progress is still progress. Achievers, however, measure success differently. They don't chase perfection, they chase persistence. They know that even on days when the results aren't visible, something is still growing beneath the surface. Consistency also separates professionals from amateurs. The amateur practices when they feel inspired, the professional practices until it becomes instinct. The amateur stops when it's uncomfortable, the professional keeps going until the job is done. This difference in approach compounds over time, making the consistent worker unbeatable. Achievers don't compare themselves to others. They compete with who they were yesterday. Every single day is a chance to improve by 1%, and over time, that small improvement becomes exponential. Dreamers talk about their goals like they're waiting for a miracle. Achievers create their own miracles through consistency. They know the journey won't always feel rewarding, but they trust that effort compounds invisibly until one day the results become undeniable. The dreamers fade because they depend on bursts of motivation. The achievers rise because they depend on systems and habits. Success doesn't belong to those who start strong, it belongs to those who refuse to stop. Consistency isn't just about action, it's about identity. When you commit to doing something daily, it rewires your mind to see yourself as the kind of person who follows through. Over time, this identity becomes unshakable. That's when discipline becomes second nature. Achievers reach that level, not because they are more gifted, but because they keep showing up long after the dreamers have stopped. The truth is simple: anyone can dream, but only the consistent few have the strength to turn those dreams into something real.